C2, coordinate geometry of the circle, example 4. So we've already had a look at an algebraic method for answering this question, but there is also another way of doing it. So if we think about what information we're actually given, we have a circle and we have 3 points on that circle. We have C, which is at 0, 2. We have A, which is at 6, 2. And we have B, which is at 8, -2. So that's just a rough idea of where the points would be. So if we draw chords going from each one of these points to the one next to it, so we have a chord going from A to C, and a chord going from A to B, and we have our center point, then we can start thinking of this in terms of what we've learnt about the circles. Because we know that the perpendicular bisector, so from the midpoint of a chord cuts through the center of the circle, which means that if we go from the midpoint on this line CA, if we cut down that midpoint, we will hit the circle of our the center of our circle. And if we cut through the midpoint of our line AB, we will also hit the center of our circle. So by finding out the equations of these two lines, we can find out where they intersect, and that will give us the center of our circle. And then of course we can just find the length from the center to the edge to figure out what our radius is. So the first thing I'm going to do is have a look at AC, so the chord from A to C. So as we can see, they've got the same y value and different x values. So the midpoint on that line is going to be at 3, because 0 plus 6 divided by 2 will give me my x value, and 2 plus 2 divided by 2 will give me my y value. So of course that would give me 3 for my x and 2 for my y. So that is our midpoint. Okay, but of course this is just a straight line going all the way up. So the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AC is just going to be x equals 3. Okay, so finding AB is a little bit more trickier. So for AB, so to find the midpoint again, we'll be doing this time 6 add 8 divided by 2, and 2 plus minus 2 divided by 2. So that'll give us a x coordinate of 7 and a y coordinate of 0. So that is the midpoint of this line. But of course this time we're going to have a gradient to it. So the gradient will be change in y over change in x, which in this case will be 8 minus 6 on the top. Oops, sorry. It will be minus 2 on the top, and it will be 8 minus 6 on the bottom. So it gives us minus 4 over 2, which gives us a gradient of minus 2. But of course, that is the gradient of the line, and we want the gradient of the perpendicular bisector. So we will be using m1 times m2 equals minus 1 to get the gradient of the normal. So m1 is minus 2. So m2 must be equal to half. So we have our gradient of the perpendicular bisector, and we also have a point that it passes through, which is the midpoint on the line AB. So now we're going to be using y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So we're going to have y minus 0 equals a half x minus 7. So that gives us 2y is equal to x minus 7. But of course, we want where the line AC meets the line AB. So we're going to use this line and this line to find where they intersect. So we have x equals 3 and we have 2y equals x minus 7. So we are going to sub 1 into 2 to give us 2y equals 3 minus 7. So that means that 2y will equal minus 4 and give us y equals minus 2. So we now know that the centre of our circle is going to be at 3 minus 2. So now we need to try and find our radius. So we're going to do that by finding the distance from one of our points on the circle that we're given in the question. In this case, let's say that we're finding it from A, which is 6, 2, to our centre, which is 3 minus 2. So of course, to find the length, we use the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So that will give us 3 minus 6 squared plus minus 2 squared. So that gives us minus 3 squared plus minus 4 squared, which gives us 9, the square root of 9 plus 16, which gives us the square root of 25, which gives us a radius of 5. So now all we need to do is write that in the equation of a circle. So we know what our centre is, and we know what our radius is. So all we have to do now is write that as x minus 3 all squared plus y plus 2 all squared equals 25. Because that is how we write the equation of a circle. So it's a bit more tricky than using the algebraic method, but it brings in a lot of the things that we have learnt in this topic.